Hi, I'm Brent Higgins with PWCC Auctions. We're the largest auctioneer for trading cards in the world. You're watching Radicards TV on radicards.com.
What's up, this is Patrick at Radicards.com, and in this video I'm going to share with you a really important piece of mail that I got today. So let's dig into it here. So this is the piece of mail I got today. Alright, I've blacked out all the sensitive information here, so let's open it up here. Okay. Alright. That there. It's really excellent packaging by the seller. All right. "2010 Bowman Chrome Prospects Superfractor of Strasburg." As you know, this card has a very rich history in the hobby. I've followed this card for 7 years. I remember when it first was pulled back in May of 2010. And I have followed it as it's changed hands throughout the years. And I've always been intrigued by this card. And I've always wanted it, but in the beginning, as some of you might know, this card was untouchable. So this card, the Strasburg 2010 Bowman Chrome Prospects Superfractor, has quite a history. It's changed hands quite a few times. It's been used as a tool to garner funds for a charity. It's been put in packs to be repacked out. Let's go through it here. So we're going to kind of just talk about where it's been, who's had it, when it was pulled, just kind of its lifespan up until now from the time it was pulled. So very legendary card, a lot of backstory here, so let's get right into it. So it was first pulled in Virginia by Leo Kim. He's a collector, and this was probably around, let's say, second week of May 2010. So we're looking at, I don't know, around a month prior to Steven Strasburg making his Major League debut, which is a perfect time to pull a key card, the biggest card, in fact, most significant rookie card of the biggest prospect in 2010. Huge. Leo Kim lists it on eBay in May of 2010, and it sells to an accountant in Michigan by the name of Robert J. Power. Closing price was $16,403. Okay, he gets the card raw, and I was pretty excited to see that, this gentleman got coverage from ESPN. He was interviewed on ESPN's First Take. He was interviewed on Beckett Media. Chris Olds ran a story about him and his collecting background. And then, unfortunately, a couple weeks later, due to some negative feedback from the hobby, Robert J. Power decides to sell the card. And I remember being kind of sad about that, because I was really happy that there was somebody who was so excited about this card and it was getting this coverage. It was great for the hobby. So hearing that Robert Power actually decided to sell it because of the negative feedback from the hobby was unfortunate, and I kind of felt bad for him. So anyway, he decides to sell it, list it on eBay, and as it's listed on eBay, he's having it graded by BGS, and it comes back at 9.5 gem mint. So the end result is that it closes at $25,000. We have a few illegitimate high bidders, so he ends up actually selling it to Brian Gray of Leaf Trading Cards in Texas. That's him on the left there. And so this video here is actually Brian Gray buying the card from Robert J. Power for $21,403. So Robert J. Power bought the card initially for $16,403, sells it for $21,403, which gives him a net profit of $5,000 for the card. It's a pretty good return. Huge product. Brian Gray decides to go ahead and put this card into a pack of product for Leaf trading cards called 2010 Razor Rookie Retro, which is a buyback repack product for some of the biggest key rookie cards in the hobby. Really fantastic marketing coming from Brian Gray at the time. So this is a really big piece. So the card was pulled by Devin Grant in California, and he pulls, so a year later, so we're looking at, July 2010 was when Brian Gray bought the card from Robert Power, and Devin Grant pulls it in around June of 2011. At least that's when the content was covered. Devin Grant, this is Devin Grant on the right and his godson Tristan on the left holding the card. He initially wanted to raffle the card off to garner funds for a charity. He had a hard time with that. He ran into some issues, so he actually hung onto the card until 2015. Okay, so we'll get to that. I love this picture, by the way. It's so fantastic. I'm so excited for the card. So cool. So I attend the 2015 National Sports Collectors Convention, and I see the card on display at the Beckett Media booth. And this was in July. In September, this is a picture I took of the card in 2015 National. The card then was listed with Beckett Auctions in September of 2015. It closes at just over $3,200, and the proceeds go to a charity called TLC for Kids Sports. And again, Devin Grant actually consigned this card to Beckett Auctions, so Devin Grant still had the card in 2015. This was the auction listing, so it actually closed for $3,289 with a minimum bid of $1,000. Really good stuff. So then there was a buyer in Texas. So this was the buyer went ahead and listed the card on eBay 2 years later for $9,995 bin, and it didn't sell. I remember watching this auction, and it didn't sell. So then my buddy and I would go to the 2017 National Sports Collectors again in Chicago, and my buddy indicates that he sees it on display again in Chicago, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. So fast forward a month later, and the card makes its way to PWCC auctions. Okay, so at this point, 7 years have passed, right? And I'd been tracking this card and paying attention to it in the hobby, and just always been intrigued by the card since it came out. And I've always wanted the card, but I knew in the beginning I was completely out of I was completely untouchable for me. I didn't have $16,000, much less $21,000. I can remember learning about the Beckett auction about a year and a half later, and then kind of like feeling like I missed out because I would have liked to have participated in an auction. So anyway, PWCC lists it. This is their auction result on their website. I go ahead and make a calculated, strategically planned purchase, and I acquire the card. So it ends up in the Radicards collection as of August 2017. So this is the final resting place of the card. This is where it stays, is in the Radicards collection. So 10 steps, 10 different stops, right? So here I am holding the card. I'm still very intrigued by this card. Now that I own it, it's just one of those cards that has such a rich backstory, rich history associated with it. I'm so proud to have it. I love this card so much. It's just such an incredible piece, and really pleased to have it in my collection. And there you have it. That's the background story of this card. This is the 2010 Bowman Chrome Prospects Steven Strasburg Superfractor. Back in 9.5, all 9.5s except for centering. This card is so beautiful. There it is, 1 of 1, Steven Strasburg. This card was, and in some ways still is, the iconic Bowman Chrome rookie card. I mean, this card has been bought and sold and inserted into packs and then pulled and then sold and then purchased and then sold again and then purchased again. such a magnificent and incredible card. I just am in awe of this card. It's beautiful. I love the Superfractors. I think they're fantastic. This one is the most important one, in my opinion, of all the Superfractors. Yes, there have been others that have been huge, but I don't think any have been covered as richly as this one has been covered in the hobby. I mean, this card is, I think, maybe the most important Bowman Chrome card that exists because of its coverage, because of its significance in the hobby. 2010, it was pulled right at the right time, in around May of 2010, and it was sold at the end of May of 2010. Steven Strasburg made his debut on early June of 2010. I mean, this card has really driven hobby drive and interest from existing collectors, and it's brought new collectors to the hobby. A little bit of backstory on this. So it was pulled by a Leo Kim in Virginia, and it was sold to Robert J. Power in Michigan. Robert J. Power kept it for a couple of weeks and then resold it. Brian Gray, owner of Leaf, then Razor Entertainment Group, bought it to insert into his 2010 Razor Rookie Retro product, which was then pulled in 2011 by a Devin Grant, resident of California. And he actually wanted to raffle this card off, but ran into some problems, some issues with that, so he ended up going ahead and consigning the card with Beckett Auction Services in 2015, September. Now, I saw this card at the National in 2015, and Beckett auctioned it off in September, a couple months later, because this was on display at the Beckett Media booth, actually, in 2015. So anyway, Devin Grant consigns this with Beckett Media in 2015. It sells. And the owner, at least to my knowledge, it didn't change hands again. Just the owner then listed on eBay in 2017 in June. Does not sell. And then consigns it with PWCC, and that's how I acquired it. But before that, I saw it I didn't see it at the National 2017, but my buddy Dan had indicated that he did. Really just a magnificent card. And, you know, we're looking at 7 years of history here with this card, and I had been following it, and each time that it changed hands, it was a little bit cheaper. Granted, I paid more than the previous owner paid for it, but it's just sort of one of those pieces that I just had to have, and I just started to assume that my chances for acquiring it were getting smaller and smaller as the years passed. I never thought that I'd be in a position to be able to grab this, but this is, to me, a cornerstone in my collection. Certainly one of the more important pieces that I have due to its significance historically, how much it's been covered in the hobby, how much excitement it's brought to the hobby. Amazing things have been discussed with this card in mind. And mind you that, you know, as new prospects come out and new Superfractors surface, the conversation involving the Steven Strasburg is common. It's commonplace. You know, people often ask, "Will it reach Strasburg heights?" You know, that's the conversation. Chris Bryant Superfractor Auto sold, and the discussion around it was, you know, what the numbers would look like when it's sold, and the Strasburg was mentioned during that conversation. I mean, this card is it's such an important card in the hobby, and I'm so happy to be the final owner of it. It'll be cherished in my collection for years to come. Really pleased to have this card. So fantastic. A little backstory on the price, though, just so you guys know. Most of you are probably already aware of this. For those of you who aren't, When it was pulled, it was originally listed on eBay for a $20,000 bin, but it didn't sell. So the owner pulled it off, relisted it a couple weeks later. It sold at auction style for $16,403 to Robert J. Power. Robert J. Power then listed on eBay again after it was slabbed by BGS. And the biddings went up to $25,000. But there were some illegitimate high bids, so those were pulled. Robert J. Power ended up selling it to Brian Gray of Leaf Trading Cards for $21,403. Then it was, like I said, it was packed. It was the person who pulled it out of the Leaf pack. He actually consigned it with Beckett Auction Services, and it sold for just north of $3,200, and the proceeds of that sale went to a charity called, I think it was called TLC for Kids Sports, and then the owner listed on eBay for $10,000. Actually, it was $9,995 bin. It was a buy it now, and it didn't sell. And it was consigned to PWCC auctions, auction style, and I went ahead and placed an aggressive bid, and I was able to get this home. So really awesome stuff. Just an incredible card. I'm so excited to have this. Steven Strasburg was so hot back in 2010. So hot. I mean, I remember working at a sports card shop in Buena Park back then, California, North Orange County. And I remember the hype firsthand. I remember Bowman Chrome packs going from $3.99 a pack to $11.99 a pack within just a few short weeks. I mean, it was just such a good time for the hobby. Great time for the hobby. It was just, the Strasburg is such a liquid card back then, and it was so easy to sell. And I just remember being in awe when I saw this auction. So excited. Just even though I couldn't bid on it back then, I was excited to see something that drove so much hobby interest. I hadn't experienced anything like that in a while, and I haven't experienced anything like that since. Not to say it won't happen again, who knows, but Steven Strasburg is, in my opinion, will forever be remembered as one of those guys that helped drive massive marquee value to the hobby. Massive marquee value. More so than, I don't know, I can't think of another player who has a card that has drawn this much attention to the hobby in a long time. Back in 1989, it was the 89 Upper Deck Griffey Jr. That was the one I remember being like the card to get. It was card number 1 in the first inaugural Upper Deck set. It was Griffey Jr., the hottest player at the time. His rookie card is best one. I mean, that card back then was such a key to have. This card today is, I think, in that sort of echelon of, permanent importance in the hobby. Just an incredible card. I mean, a magnificent, just beautiful, gorgeous, amazing. I mean, I just love the kind of yellowing tint that these Superfractors have. I like that yellowed border there. I mean, this is just such a fantastic, just an incredible card. Even if you don't collect sports cards, you might still be impressed by how much coverage this card has gotten over the years. Now, for those of you that are watching this on like YouTube or Twitter or wherever else online, click through to Radicards.com and read about this. I've written an extensive article, about its travels, how it's changed hands, who's owned it, how much it's sold for, etc., etc., etc. I even have a little gallery there of all the different images that I've sourced online of the card as it's been scanned over the years. This card is just, I mean, I'm just kind of in awe just having it. It's so amazing. I love stuff like this, though. I think the hobby is, you know, it needs guys like Strasburg. It needs talent that can bring a lot of attention to baseball. And you know, as I talk about this today, he's already a 3-time All-Star, and he already has a Silver Slugger for a pitcher. I mean, that's just awesome. I really dig that. I think that's cool. Just a young picture of Mr. Strasburg there. God, I love these. They're so rad. I just, you know, it's one of those cards you kind of just have to stand and look at for a while, just to, you know, there are a few cards like that where I'll look at them and be like, wow, this is, I'm shot, my jaw's on the floor just looking at this. I remember when I got my No Name on Front, Frank Thomas rookie, my BGS 8.5, I remember staring at it, just holding it for minutes, just looking at it, smiling. It's kind of how I'm sort of drooling right now over this card. Is just magnificent, beautiful. You know, it was slabbed 7 years ago. The slab itself is still in great shape. I don't see any major scuffs or anything like that. People, looks like they've taken care of this card. I mean, granted, it's so expensive, so valuable. Of course, you're going to want to make sure it's in good shape, good condition, keep it preserved, obviously. It's in these rock solid BGS cases. Love them. I think it's beautiful. I mean, it's such a gorgeous, gorgeous piece. I love this. I just love this card. The 2010 Bowman Chrome Prospects Stephen Strasburg Superfractor 1 of 1. The ultimate of Stephen Strasburg cards. Perhaps the most iconic Bowman Chrome Superfractor. So that's the 2010 Bowman Chrome Prospects Superfractor Stephen Strasburg, graded BGS 9.5. This is the card. Now it's part of the Radicards collection. If you like this video, if you want to comment, share some thoughts on the card, please do so in the comments section, either on the blog or on YouTube, wherever you're watching this. And please feel free to leave comments wherever you wish.
If you like this video, please subscribe. Enjoy collecting. Thank you.